All right, so today we're going to be diving into some YouTube advice.
Okay.
And we're going to be looking at advice from Ali Abdaal.
Mm-hmm.
So Ali Abdaal, he's got over 5 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, he's killing it.
He's been doing YouTube for like 7 years now.
Wow.
Um,
Just a
and
long guy.
and he's even got his own YouTube academy.
Oh, wow.
So he teaches people how to be successful on YouTube.
So we know that he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, so we're hoping that by looking at his advice, we can glean some really useful insights for all of us
For sure.
who are trying to grow on YouTube.
Yeah, and what I think is so interesting about him is like he really gives this clear roadmap for growth.
Yeah.
And it's like broken down into these levels.
Yeah.
It's not just like go make videos.
Right.
There's a real strategy behind it.
Yeah, it's not just like, oh, post consistently and like you'll be fine.
Exactly.
There's like these levels.
Yeah, he calls them get going, get good, and get smart.
I love that.
Yeah.
Get good, get smart.
Yeah. And it's like, so if you're starting your YouTube channel today, the first thing you need to be thinking about is like, where am I at?
Yeah.
Am I in the get going phase?
Okay.
Am I in that get good phase? Or am I get smart?
And so like where does he say we should start?
Well, like in that get going phase,
Okay.
if you're under 100 subscribers, he just says, make videos.
Okay.
Don't overthink it.
Okay.
Don't
get bogged down in like all the details,
No,
like finding your niche and like.
yeah, don't worry about the niche yet.
Yeah.
Just get going.
Just make videos.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because I feel like a lot of people get stuck on like,
Totally.
what should my niche be?
Yeah.
And that stops them from even starting.
Exactly.
And he's saying like, just get started.
Yeah, just start making content.
Make videos.
Yeah, build that momentum and then worry about like
Yeah.
refining that and getting good and then getting smart later.
So once you start gaining some traction, then what do you do?
Then you get good.
Okay, how do you get good?
So you start paying attention to feedback.
Okay.
So both your own feedback, like how do you feel about the content, but also what are your viewers saying?
Okay.
Are they enjoying it?
Interesting.
Are they leaving comments? Are they asking questions?
So you're starting to use that feedback to like improve the quality?
Exactly. You're refining your craft.
Okay.
You're like raising your quality bar based on what you're learning.
So that's get good.
Yeah.
What about get smart?
So that's when you're really starting to think strategically about your channel,
Okay.
about your niche, about how you provide value to your viewers.
So it sounds like get smart is like when you're really serious about YouTube
Yes, exactly.
and you're starting to treat it like
Like a business?
a business.
Yeah. He advocates for like adopting a business mindset from day one.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So even if you're not like making money from YouTube yet, he's saying like you should still have a business mindset.
Yeah, it's about shifting your focus from just like personal satisfaction to really like providing value to your audience.
Interesting.
So it's like, how can I help other people with my content?
So what does that look like in practice? Like, what does it mean to have a business mindset?
I think it starts with like a decision.
Okay.
Do you want a casual or a serious relationship with YouTube?
Ooh.
That's like,
A casual or a serious relationship.
Yeah.
I like that.
feel like, are you just posting like inconsistently as a hobby? Or are you like really committed
Yeah.
to showing up consistently
Right. Yeah.
and building an audience?
So casual would be like, I'm just doing this for fun.
Yeah.
And serious is like,
I'm in it to win it.
yeah, I want to make this a thing.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's a big decision right there.
It is.
Casual versus serious.
Yeah. And it kind of sets the tone for everything else.
Yeah. Right.
Like how much effort are you going to put in? How consistent are you going to be?
Right.
What kind of content are you going to make?
So what about finding your niche?
Yeah.
Because everyone talks about finding your niche. So
Yeah.
what does he say about that?
He agrees that niche is important,
Okay.
but he says it's important at the right time.
Okay.
So like early on,
Yeah.
just focus on creating content you're passionate about,
Yeah.
that you're knowledgeable in.
Yeah.
Don't try to force yourself into a niche
Right.
that doesn't feel right,
Okay.
because that'll lead to burnout.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that would lead to burnout.
It is.
If you're like, oh, I have to make videos about this.
Yeah.
But you don't even care about it.
Exactly.
So he's saying like, just.
Yeah, tap into those authentic interests first.
Yeah.
And then as you gain experience and understand your audience better,
Yeah.
then you can start to refine that focus.
So don't worry too much about it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just focus on making stuff that you care about.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a really good point, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people get hung up on that. Finding the niche thing.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's say you're making videos.
Mm-hmm.
You're passionate about it. You're starting to get some traction.
Yeah.
You're getting good.
Yeah.
How do you actually find the time to do all this?
Well, I mean, Ali was a full-time doctor
Yeah, that's what's so crazy.
while he was building his YouTube channel.
Like, he was working full-time as a doctor.
Yeah.
And then he was, like, coming home and making YouTube videos. That's insane.
I know.
So he clearly knows a thing or two about time management.
Right.
So what are some of his tips?
Well, he acknowledges that, like, time management is a challenge for everyone.
Right.
But it's about, like, identifying your priorities and finding ways to work smarter, not harder.
Okay.
And his number one tip,
What is it?
outsource your video editing.
Ooh.
Yeah, the big
one.
It is.
I feel like a lot of creators are like, I don't want to outsource my editing.
Yeah, they're like, nobody can edit my videos like I can.
Exactly.
Right.
But he's saying, like,
He's saying let go.
let it go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, recognize that your time is often better spent on tasks that, like, really leverage your unique skills.
Okay.
Like brainstorming ideas.
Yeah.
Or connecting with your audience.
So, like, the stuff that only you can do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else can come up with your ideas for you.
Right. And, like, nobody else can film you.
Exactly.
Right.
So focus
Wow.
on those things.
Okay. So that's interesting. So it's like thinking about your time.
Yeah.
And, like, what is your time best spent on?
Exactly.
And then outsourcing the rest.
Yeah, and he even gives, like, a framework
Yeah. Okay.
for thinking about, like, how to prioritize your tasks.
Okay. I'm curious about that.
Yeah. So what is this framework?
Okay. So he actually says, don't even start on your script
Oh, interesting.
until you have, like, a solid idea
Okay.
for what he calls the TTH.
To teach you.
Title, thumbnail, and hook.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because
It's important.
it is for getting people to actually click yes and watch your video.
Yeah.
So he says, like, scripting used to take him forever.
Oh, really?
Like 12 hours per video.
That's a long time.
Because he was, like, scripting every single word.
Yeah.
And then he would read it off a teleprompter.
Oh, I see.
And he realized that
It wasn't working.
it just wasn't working. It felt really stiff and unnatural.
Yeah, it's hard to, like, let your personality shine through.
Exactly.
When you're reading.
It's like you're not really connecting with the audience. You're
Mhm.
just, like, reading words off a screen.
Yeah, you're not, like, present.
And so he was like, okay, I got to ditch the script.
So what does he do instead?
So instead of a script, he's like, just outline your key points.
Okay.
And he recommends aiming for 3 main takeaways per video.
3 main takeaways.
3 main takeaways.
Okay.
Because then it's like,
Manageable.
it keeps things focused for you and for the viewer.
And nobody wants to watch, like, a 30-minute video
Right.
where it's, like, all over the place.
Well,
They want something concise.
So 3 key points.
Yeah.
And then you structure the video around those points.
Okay. And how does he do that?
So he uses this thing called the HIVES framework.
The HIVS framework.
HIVES framework. Have you heard of this?
I haven't.
So HIVS stands for hook,
Okay.
intro value,
Got it.
end screen,
Okay.
and sales pitch.
Interesting.
So it's like a little acronym
Yeah.
to help you remember the structure.
Okay. So the hook.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
First few seconds of the video.
Right.
And that's what determines whether someone keeps watching.
That's got to be good.
It's got to be good.
What makes a good hook?
So he says for educational videos,
Mm-hmm.
often the hook can be as simple as restating the video's title
Okay.
and promising to deliver on the value proposition.
So basically just tell them what they're going to get.
Yeah, like this video is about how to make $1 million on YouTube.
Right.
And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it.
Good.
So it's like setting clear expectations.
Yeah.
And it's also piquing their curiosity.
They're like, okay, I want to know how to do that.
Exactly.
So I'm going to keep watching.
Okay, so that's the hook.
Yeah, what about the intro?
So the intro is your chance to establish credibility
Okay.
and let the audience know why they should care about what you have to say.
So you're like building trust with the audience? Okay.
But he says, like, you don't have to be a guru, right?
You don't have to be like the ultimate expert.
Yeah, you don't have to be like, I've been doing this for 20 years and I've made $1 billion.
Right.
You can just be like, I'm a guide.
Yeah, I'm a few steps ahead of you,
Yeah.
and I'm here to help.
And he actually says, like, sharing your own struggles
Okay.
and how you overcame them
Interesting.
can actually be really helpful.
So be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because people connect with that.
Yeah, because it makes you relatable.
Exactly.
It makes you human.
Yeah, like we've all struggled with this thing.
Right.
and I figured out a way to overcome it, and I'm going to share it with you.
That's great.
Okay, so that's the intro.
Got it.
Then we get to the value section.
Okay, the value.
This is the meat of the video.
This is where you deliver the goods.
This is where you deliver the goods.
The 3 key takeaways.
Those 3 key points you outlined.
Got it.
And so, like, this is where you really provide that value.
Okay.
Whether it's information or entertainment or whatever.
So make sure you're not wasting the viewer's time.
Don't waste their time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the hook.
Right.
We've got the intro.
Yeah.
We've got the value.
Value.
What about the end screen?
Okay, the end screen.
So he calls the end screen the sales pitch.
Ooh, okay.
But not in the way that you might think.
Okay.
He's not saying like,
comment, subscribe.
yeah, like, please subscribe to my channel.
Yeah, we all hate those.
He's like, that's so cheesy.
Right.
Instead, he says, use the end screen to promote another video
Okay.
that your viewers might enjoy.
So it's still a sales pitch, but it's like...
It's a subtle sales pitch.
Yeah.
It's like you're guiding them.
Yeah. You're giving them more of what they want.
To the next thing that they might be interested in.
Yeah, that's smart.
And then finally, we have the actual sales pitch.
Okay.
So this is where you can promote your own products or services.
Got it.
Like if you have an online course or a coaching program or whatever.
Merchandise.
Merchandise, yeah.
Okay.
But the key is to make sure it's relevant to your audience.
Yeah. You don't want to be selling them something completely random.
And you don't want to be like too pushy. You want to make it feel natural and authentic.
So it's like, hey, if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more.
Yeah, check out my course or whatever.
Okay, so that's the HIVES framework.
That's the HIVES framework.
Hook, intro, value, end screen, sales pitch.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
But it's like, it really makes you think about the structure of your videos and how to make them more engaging.
It's like a little checklist.
Yeah.
To make sure you're hitting all the points.
Okay, so we've talked about the HIVES framework, but let's actually talk about finding and managing video editors.
Okay, yes.
Because he breaks it down into a really simple process.
Okay, good. Because that can be kind of a daunting task.
It can be.
Especially if you've never done it before.
Yeah. So he says start with a clear job description that outlines your expectations and the style of your videos.
So they know what they're getting into.
Exactly.
Right.
And then instead of asking for a full resume or portfolio right away, he says give them a trial task.
Oh, like that.
So you upload some raw footage to a shared drive or whatever.
Okay.
And you say, okay, edit the first 60 seconds of this.
Got it.
In your style.
That's smart.
And that way you can quickly see
if they're a good fit.
If they're good.
Yeah.
If their style aligns with yours.
Right.
You don't have to, like,
waste time
looking at resumes.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you actually find these editors?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So if you already have an audience,
okay,
he says leverage your existing network.
So put out a call on social media.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or in your newsletter.
Yeah. See if anybody's interested.
Exactly.
Okay, but what if you're just starting out?
If you're just starting out.
And you don't have a big audience yet?
You can use freelance platforms.
Oh, okay. Like Upwork and Fiverr?
Upwork, Fiverr, people per hour.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, those are all good options.
So there's plenty of places to find editors.
Yeah, and he actually specifically recommends people per hour.
Okay, cool.
And then his advice is basically to experiment with different editors until you find the right fit.
Okay, so don't be afraid to try out a few different people.
Yeah, don't be afraid to, like, you know, it's like dating.
Yeah.
You got to find the right person.
The right match.
The right match.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's finding and managing editors.
Now, what about pricing?
So pricing, you often get what you pay for.
Right.
So if you find someone for like $50 a video, it's probably not going to be great.
You might end up spending more time managing them.
Yeah.
Than if you just paid a little bit more.
He says a reasonable starting point is like $100 to $150 per video.
Yeah, that seems fair.
For a decent editor.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you want like a really good editor, you're going to have to pay more.
Like how much more?
So he says for like good to world-class editors, you're looking at like $200 to $300.
Okay.
And even up to $1,300.
Wow. Okay, so there's a wide range.
There's a wide range.
Depending on quality. Okay. So it's really about, like, what's your budget?
Yeah.
And what are you looking for?
What's important to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we've talked about finding editors, but now let's actually talk about, like, your on-camera persona.
Okay.
Because you are on camera. You are.
If you're making YouTube videos, so how do you actually present yourself?
That's a good question.
on camera.
Yeah.
So he's actually really open about his own journey with this.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, like, when he first started,
Yeah.
he was trying to imitate his YouTube idol,
Oh, who was that?
Peter McKinnon.
Peter McKinnon. Oh, yeah. He's like the king of cinematic vlogs.
Like,
Those beautiful shots.
super high quality.
Yeah. I can see why you'd want to imitate him.
And so he was like trying to be like Peter McKinnon.
Okay.
And then he realized
That wasn't working.
it wasn't working. It just didn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
He was trying to be someone he wasn't.
Right.
And so he was like, okay, I got to figure out my own style.
So what did he do?
So he basically just started embracing his own quirks and personality.
Okay.
And that's what ultimately resonated with his audience.
So he's just himself.
Yeah.
And people liked that.
People liked it.
Yeah. Authenticity is so important.
It's so important because
Yeah.
people can spot a fake from a mile away.
Totally.
So you got to be yourself.
Do so.
But what's interesting is he actually credits
Yeah.
his early attempts to imitate Peter McKinnon
Okay.
with helping him become more comfortable on camera.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's like, even though it didn't work,
Yeah.
it was still a valuable experience.
It helped them learn.
Yeah, it helped him learn and grow.
Okay.
So that's like
Finding your on-camera persona.
setting your on-camera persona.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
But don't be afraid to experiment
Yeah.
and try different things.
Now, how long should your videos be?
That's a good question.
So for educational content,
Okay.
he says the sweet spot is between 8 and 12 minutes.
8 and 12 minutes.
8 and 12 minutes.
Okay.
Because that's like long enough
To go in depth.
to go in depth.
Yeah.
But it's not so long that people get bored.
Right.
But he also says like there is a place for like hyper long form content.
Oh, really?
So he mentions his friend Simon Squibb,
Yeah. Yeah.
who created this video called 30 Years of Business Knowledge
Wow.
in 2 hours and 26 minutes.
That's a long video.
That's a long video, but
Yeah.
it went viral
Wow.
and it helped Simon's channel explode.
Just sometimes breaking the rules works?
Sometimes breaking the rules works.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
Yeah.
8 to 12 minutes is a good sweet spot for educational content.
Okay.
Okay. I want to share this one piece of advice
Okay.
that he gave that I thought was really powerful.
Okay.
He said, I don't care about the performance of this video.
Wow.
My only goal in making it is to share a message that I think is worth sharing for whoever wants to hear it.
That's a great mindset.
Isn't that amazing?
It's like taking the pressure off of
yeah.
of like the views and the likes.
And the algorithm. It's
Yeah.
just like, I have this message.
Yeah.
I want to share it.
I want to put it out there.
We're going to put it out there.
Yeah.
And if people like it, great.
Yeah.
If not,
That's okay.
that's okay.
Yeah, I love that.
So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's a good reminder.
And it kind of ties back to the whole like business mindset thing. Where
Yeah.
it's like you're not just focused on like
Yeah.
your own personal satisfaction. You're focused on like
Providing value.
providing value to others.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one person
Yeah.
who resonates with your message.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of finding your unique path to success,
Mm-hmm.
he talks about this concept of unfair advantages.
Unfair advantage.
Unfair advantages.
Okay. EMG.
So basically, it's like, what are you uniquely good at?
Okay.
What are your strengths?
Yeah.
What are your experiences? What
Yeah.
are your perspectives that
Interesting.
nobody else can replicate?
So it's like what makes you stand out.
Yeah, what makes you different?
Okay.
And he actually recommends asking your friends and family
Okay.
for their input.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's hard to see our own strengths.
Yeah. Yeah, we're so focused on our weaknesses
Right.
that we don't even realize what we're good at.
Yeah. And other people can often see those things.
Yeah, so ask your friends, like, what am I good at?
Yeah. What do you think I'm good at?
Yeah.
What would you want to learn from me?
Exactly.
That's a good question.
And then once you've identified those unfair advantages,
Okay.
then the challenge is figuring out how to translate them into content.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I'm really good at
I don't know.
making pottery.
Pottery. Okay.
How can I make a YouTube channel
Yeah.
about pottery
Okay.
that people will actually want to watch?
Right.
So it's like finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
between your passion
Okay.
and what people are actually interested in.
What's valuable to the audience?
Exactly. So for example,
Yeah.
he mentioned a friend who's incredibly empathetic
Okay.
and skilled at emotional intelligence.
Okay.
So maybe that person could create a YouTube channel about like
Relationship.
relationship or communication or
Yeah.
something like that.
That's a good niche.
Yeah. So it's like taking those strengths
Mm.
and figuring out how to apply them to YouTube.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a really powerful concept.
It is.
This idea of unfair advantages,
Yeah.
because it really makes you think about like
What makes you unique?
What makes you unique?
Yeah.
And what can you offer to the world
That nobody else can.
that nobody else can?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, so we've talked about finding your niche, leveraging those advantages, and finding editors and all that stuff. But even if you have like the best niche in the world,
Right.
it doesn't really matter if you're not consistent.
You gotta show up for people.
Yeah, like Ali really stresses this idea of like a committed relationship with YouTube.
Yeah, it's a long game.
It's a long game.
You gotta be in it for the long haul.
So what does that actually look like? Like, how do you actually be consistent?
Yeah, because like life gets in the way.
People have jobs and kids and
responsibilities
and all that stuff.
How do you make it work?
Yeah.
So what does he say?
Well, he compares it to like building any successful platform. It's like consistency is what separates the people who gain traction from the people who like
fade away.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to show up regularly.
Yeah, you got to build that trust.
Build that trust with your audience.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
Well, I think it comes down to time management.
Okay.
And prioritization.
We talked about outsourcing editing.
Yeah.
But are there other things that we can do?
Yeah, he recommends like breaking down the entire video creation process into like distinct stages.
Okay.
So you've got like the idea phase, the title, thumbnail, hook phase.
That's the TTH.
The TTH.
Yeah.
Then you've got scripting, filming, editing, publishing, and analytics.
So it's like breaking it down into these smaller chunks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of see like where are you wasting time.
And what are the tasks that are actually like moving the needle?
So what are like the high value tasks that we should be focusing on?
I think that depends on your strengths.
Okay.
Like for me personally, I love the brainstorming phase.
Okay.
Like coming up with new ideas.
Yeah.
I think that's where I really shine.
Okay.
But like the editing part,
I
could definitely outguess that.
Okay, so it's like knowing yourself and knowing what you're good at.
Exactly.
And then focusing on those things.
And letting go of the things that you're not so good at.
Or that you don't enjoy.
Exactly.
And then he actually says like, don't even start on your script.
Oh, really?
Until you have a solid idea for your TTH.
So the title, thumbnail, and hook should come first.
Come first.
Okay.
Because that's what's going to grab people's attention.
Oh, right.
That's what's going to make them click on your video.
It's the first thing they see.
It's the first thing they see.
Okay.
So if it's not good, they're not going to watch your video.
No matter how good the content is.
Exactly.
Okay, so the TTH is crucial.
TTH is crucial.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the algorithm?
Ah, yes, the algorithm.
Everyone's favorite topic.
Everyone's obsessed with it.
How do we please the algorithm?
How do we crack the code?
Well, Ali has a really interesting perspective on this.
Okay, I'm curious.
So he's actually talked to YouTube engineers.
Oh, wow.
Who told him that the algorithm is basically just a reflection of the audience's preferences.
So the algorithm is the audience.
The algorithm is the audience.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
That's a really interesting way to think about it.
So it's not about like
trying
to game the system.
Right.
It's about like
understanding your audience.
Understanding your audience and creating content that they actually want to watch.
Giving them what they want.
Giving them what they want. And I think that ties back to this whole idea of like unfair advantages.
Okay. How so?
Because if you're creating content that is unique to you and that leverages your strengths, then that's going to naturally appeal to the algorithm.
Because it's appealing to the audience?
Because it's appealing to the audience.
Okay, I see the connection.
So it all comes full circle.
It does.
So I think like one of the biggest takeaways from all of this is that you got to be yourself. You got to create content that you're passionate about.
Right.
But you also got to be strategic about it.
Yeah.
You got to think about your audience. You got to think about your niche.
Yeah.
You got to think about your unfair advantages.
Right.
And you got to be consistent.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
So I think like if you can do all of those things, you're going to be well on your way to success on YouTube.
I think Ali's advice is so valuable.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about like the tactics.
Right.
It's about the mindset.
It's about the mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people are missing. Totally. They're so focused on like the hacks and the tricks that they forget about the bigger picture.
The why.
The why.
Yeah.
So I think like Ali really helps you
Yeah.
to define your why.
To get clear on that.
To get clear on that.
Yeah.
And then figure out how to actually achieve it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think this has been a really great deep dive.
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot.
Me too.
About Ali Abdaal and about YouTube in general.
Yeah. And hopefully our listeners got some value out of it too.
Oh,
So if you're out there
yeah.
and you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, or if you're already on YouTube
Yeah.
and you're just looking for some tips,
Some advice. Yeah.
definitely check out Ali Abdaal's stuff.
Yeah, he's got a ton of great content.
He's got videos, courses,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he's a great resource.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Yeah, this was fun.
It was a good one.
Always a pleasure.
All right. We'll see you next time.
See you later.